Hi, Caroline, and welcome. I'm really glad to have you here with me this morning for my 10 minutes with. So, are you ready to rock and roll?
I sure am, Porg, and I'm delighted to be here. Thank you for the invitation.
You're more than welcome. Thank you. So, may I start by asking you a question, Caroline? Can you just explain to me what is your business? What do you actually do?
So my business is called Opnflo, and what I do in my business is I help companies to scale and grow through their people. So as we know, people are the greatest asset, and companies have can have very ambitious targets and so on. But the importance is making sure that everybody comes along on the journey, that everybody understands the journey, and that's where I come in. So really, where companies want to scale and grow, I help them to get ready to do that,
Okay.
and I help them to do that fast.
Okay, it's interesting. You say there that people are a company's most important assets. Because I challenge you there, and I would say that the right people are a company's most important assets. What do you think of that?
I agree, Porrick. I absolutely agree. And you're opening up a conversation there, which can sometimes be difficult for people, which is we can have people working with us for a long time, or maybe not so long, who aren't a right fit. And really the idea is to get the right people working with us. So using that old analogy, and I forget the name of the book right now, but the right people in the right
The right
seats on the
seat.
right bus going in the right direction. Who wrote the book?
Yeah, good to great. Jim
Good to great.
Collins. Yeah, Jim
Yeah,
Collins, good to
absolutely.
great. Yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes we have the wrong people. One of my great mentors, who's Patrick Lencioni, and I'm part of his global network, is when we have people who are the wrong fit, we need to help them with kindness and with love. We need to help them to find what it is that they want to do. So those scenarios in the workplace where people are frozen out or left out or excluded, or where there just isn't a great feeling for that person, just in the hope that they'll move on. That's not good for anybody. And the people it's worst for are those who are staying, who observe that sort of behavior happening in organizations, and because that creates uncertainty. So sometimes what the organization is trying to achieve, they actually undermine it
They
themselves
do the
in
opposite,
their
yeah.
behavior. Yeah.
And tell me, you speak with a certain amount of passion here. So may I ask you a question? How and why did you get into this business?
I've always been very passionate about people and performance. So conditions for success are really critical for me. So let's say in the workplace, that would be the scenario where we have trust, and we have openness and inclusivity and clarity, that everybody understands why we're here, what it is we're trying to achieve. My passion for it comes from people's desire to do well, to contribute to
Yeah.
success. And therefore, it's incumbent upon those in positions of influence and capability and responsibility to set up those conditions.
You and I share that sort of passion. As you know, my purpose is to help people become all they can be. So we're all in the same game, I suppose, to a certain extent. And tell me, in the case of your practice, your particular business, what's a typical client look like?
It's typically an SME, or the leader of an SME. So I work with leaders um, on, on a one-to-one basis, and then they bring me in to work with their teams. But we must get it right with the leader, and leader always goes first.
Yeah.
So we need to get to the critical issues, the critical drive, the ambition, what this company is all about, and getting really clear, getting under the bonnet on what's what's the ambition, and what are the current challenges, and what are the challenges that we're starting to anticipate. And once there's the leader is pretty clear on that, we bring in more people, we bring in the leadership team, just to broaden the thinking on that.
Yeah.
And it's important for the leader to rely on the people around them, and to hear what needs to be said by others in positions of influence.
It's interesting, isn't it, that irrespective of where you are, clarity is a thing that's sadly lacking everywhere we go in the world. Absolute clarity about who we are, what we're trying to do, where we're trying to go, who we want on the journey, and so on. How do you use TTI assessments to help you create value for these clients?
So I'm really passionate about the certain methodologies out there. So psychological safety and the work of Amy Edmondson, and the, let's talk about the 5 dysfunctions of a team from Patrick Lencioni. Fundamental to all of this is building trust. So building trust on teams, building trust between people in the workplace, and my belief is that there's a precursor to all of that. We don't just go in and say, hey, let's everybody, let's build trust, and we know how to help you do that. The precursor to all of this is understanding yourself. We must understand ourselves, how we behave, how we communicate, what motivates us, etc., etc. And then we can start to understand other people. We know when we're possibly getting triggered or hijacked in our thinking by the behaviors of other people, simply because they're different to us. And I'm just thinking in the moment now, Porg, about the 4 Agreements. And I know you're a fan of that book as well, by Don Miguel Ruiz. And one of them, I'm not sure, I think it might be the 2nd agreement, is don't take things personally.
Yeah.
And
I think he said, actually, don't think things personally. Nothing anybody says or do has anything to do with you. It's just a projection of their own reality.
Exactly.
I mean,
exactly.
Yeah.
So once we can accept that, once we understand ourselves and know that the behavior of others is just a projection of their reality, but it also helps us to interpret in the moment, and it helps us in our response reaction, when we understand ourselves. So, for example, I love using DISC. Absolutely love using DISC, and most of my clients use it. Some of my clients have done it already, and there's actually one client I worked with last year. They had done it twice already, and I insisted on doing it again because I just needed to do it. I needed to start afresh with this group of people, and the feedback I got was, now we get it. Now we get it. And now I understand. Now we understand each other. And, we were able to use some of the workshopping techniques that you have shown us, Porg, and able to leave them with questions to maybe answer at subsequent team meetings, that they can just sort of challenge themselves to keep this knowledge fresh. I think once we understand that, we actually, as individuals, have a little bit more self-compassion and forgiveness as well, because while I know that you're very direct, Porg, I'm more reflective. And sometimes, like when I was working full-time in other organizations, many years ago, I would feel, oh, I should be quicker about speaking up. But actually, I now know that no, I had a lot to contribute, but I did it at a slower pace. I might have come back slightly after a meeting and said, how about we do this? Or have we not considered the other? And as once I knew that about myself, I had a lot more compassion about it. So I help groups and teams to understand that there's value in difference.
Yeah, very good. Excellent. So thank you very much, Caroline. It was fascinating to hear what you do and about your business, and indeed how you use TTI assessments to help you in it. I wish you the best of luck going forward in your business and indeed in life. Thank you very much.